Hello, it's me. And today, we are going to talk about how to train your dog. There are a million different ways that you can go about training your dog. So in this video, I am going to cover the basics of training your dog and give you some commands that I recommend that you teach your dog. Some of these commands are basic commands that I think every dog should know. Other ones are my personal favorites that I use with my dogs on a daily basis. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to share with you a little bit of an insight into what I think is one of the most important things when it comes to dog training. So first off, let's start by talking about treats. Treats are probably one of the most important factors when it comes to training your dog. You need to have high-value treats that your dog absolutely loves and also low-value treats. I like to use freeze-dried liver as my high-value treat. This stuff, as you can see, I can literally crumble it up into a million tiny pieces and my dog will still find it and they love it. This is super high value for them. The reason why I like to use freeze-dried liver is because it has a very strong smell so they can easily pick it up. It lasts a long time. It's not like a cookie that gets stale or smells less enticing after a while, and it's also very healthy for them. So if I want to give them a bunch of treats during training, I don't really have to feel bad about it because it's not loaded with carbs like dog biscuits are, and it doesn't spoil like other types of treats do. So I like to keep a whole big bag of this in my freezer, and then I crumble it up in little pieces and put it in a small container and bring it with me when I'm going to be doing training in the car or out and about somewhere else. Another great high-value treat is cheese. Most dogs love cheese. However, not all dogs can eat dairy products, so if you have a dog that cannot have dairy, obviously you gotta skip out on this one. But a lot of dogs will work crazy for cheese, so it's definitely worth trying. For the lower value treats, I like to use like little pieces of hot dog or something like that. Something that's a little less smelly but still really yummy for the dog. Again, hot dogs aren't the best for their health. But like anything, it's okay to have in moderation. The next thing I want to talk about is a clicker. A clicker is an optional tool that you can use when training your dog. It's basically just a way of marking the exact moment that your dog does exactly what you want them to do so that you can give them the treat immediately after and they associate that treat with doing that action. There is a lot of controversy when it comes to using a clicker when training your dog. Some people swear by it and say that it's the only way that you should train your dog. Other people say it's worthless and they don't use it at all. I personally like to use a clicker. However, you do not need a clicker to train your dog. It's just an optional tool. If you choose to use a clicker, make sure that you get one that is very high-pitched so that it stands out from all of the other noises around you. Next, let's talk about the commands that I recommend teaching your dog. The first command is come. The whole reason that I think it's important for your dog to know this command is because it could save their life one day. Let's say they're running around the yard and they get loose and they run away. If you can call them and they come, that could save them from getting hit by a car or getting lost forever. To teach your dog this command, I like to use a combination of hand signals along with verbal cues. For most dogs, the verbal cue that you use for come is simply come. But you can pick whatever you want to call it. For my dogs, I like to call it come. Make sure that you use an upbeat, happy tone when you're calling your dog. Dogs are much more likely to want to come to you if you sound excited about them coming rather than sounding angry or annoyed when you say the word come. When your dog comes to you, reward them with praise and a high-value treat. And eventually, after repeating this over and over again, they will learn to associate coming to you with getting a reward. The next command I want to talk about is drop it. Drop it is another command that could save your dog's life. Imagine if your dog picked up a piece of steak off the ground that had a stick in it or something that was very dangerous for them to swallow. Being able to tell them drop it and them actually listening would be life-saving. This command is also useful if your dog likes to chew on things that they shouldn't, like shoes or blankets or your favorite sweater. To teach drop it, start out by having your dog hold a low-value treat in their mouth. Don't use a high-value treat here because you want them to be willing to give up that treat to get a higher-value treat from you. Once they have the treat in their mouth, say the word, drop it in a firm voice. Then immediately follow it up by throwing a higher value treat on the ground for them to chase and grab. They will quickly learn that dropping the item that they have in their mouth and then picking up the higher value treat on the ground is the best option. The next command I want to talk about is heel. This is a great command to teach your dog, especially if you plan on taking them anywhere in public. If your dog knows to stay at your heel, then it makes it much easier to walk through a store or down a busy sidewalk. To teach your dog to heel, start out by walking forward. As soon as they start to pull ahead of you or get too far away from you, say the word heel in a firm voice. Then immediately stop walking. Stand perfectly still until your dog comes back to your heel and then start walking again. Repeat this over and over again until your dog understands that to get you to start walking again, they have to be at your heel. The next command I want to talk about is settle. Settle is basically a polite way of telling your dog to go lay down and be quiet. It's great if you have company over and your dog is being a little too rowdy, or if you want your dog to calm down before you get in the car. To teach your dog to settle, first have them in a downstay. Then once they are in that downstay, give them a treat and then immediately leave the room. They will quickly learn that when you leave the room, it means that they need to stay there and be quiet. The next command I want to talk about is wait. Wait is a command that is very similar to settle, but it can be used in more situations. Wait can be used to prevent your dog from jumping up on people at the door, running out the front door, or begging at the dinner table. To teach your dog to wait, start out by having them sit right where they are. Then you are going to hold up your hand in a stop motion and say the word wait. After a couple seconds, even if nothing happens, say the word good and then give them a treat. Then do this over and over again, each time gradually increasing the amount of time that you wait before saying good. The next command I want to talk about is place. Place is another great command that is very similar to settle. To teach your dog this command, you are going to start by luring them onto a dog bed or mat with a treat. Once they are on the bed or mat, say the word place. Then immediately give them a treat. Do this over and over again until they reliably go to that spot when you say the word place. And finally, the last command I want to talk about is leave it. Leave it is a great command that can be used in many different situations. Leave it can be used to keep your dog from eating something that's not theirs, like food off the counter or your plate at the dinner table. It can also be used if you see something dangerous laying around, like a bee or a wasp nest. To teach your dog to leave it, start out by putting a treat on the ground in front of them. Say the word leave it and then immediately turn your back and ignore them. If they leave it alone for even 1 second, then immediately give them a treat and praise them. Then repeat this over and over again, gradually increasing the time that they have to leave it alone before getting the reward. Okay, so those are some of my favorite commands to teach my dog. And those are also some of the commands that I think are really useful in everyday life. Now I want to share with you what I think is probably one of the most important things when it comes to training your dog, and that is to socialize your dog at a young age. Socialization is key when it comes to raising a well-adjusted dog. If your dog is socialized, they will be confident in new situations. They will be less fearful of new people and less likely to react out in public. I use desensitization and counter-conditioning to socialize my puppies at a young age. This means that I expose them to many different sights, sounds, people, cars, etc., while they are still a puppy. By exposing them to these things while they are still a puppy and pairing it with positive experiences, they end up learning that all of these scary things are actually safe and fun. So if you can start socializing your dog at a young age and teaching them that new things are exciting and fun rather than scary, then you will end up with a confident, well-adjusted dog that is much easier to train. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.